Hello Stitchy friends, how are you? My name is Sally and this is my floss tube all about cross stitch and sometimes some other crafts as well. It's floss tube number 27 and today is Friday the 16th of February. So this is my mid-month catch-up. Welcome if you're new or if you've come along for a second, third or even 27th time to watch me, you're all so welcome. And in usual floss tube style, please like and subscribe if you and tick all the things. That would be great to show your support so that I know you're enjoying what you're listening to and I can carry on happy in the knowledge that you're happy with the content that I am providing. So it has been a busy month of February so far, since I last saw you. Quite a few new starts, some finishes and even one or two fully finished objects. As you know, I am busy this year. It is the year that I turn 50. Don't feel it, might look it. No, not too many grey hairs today. And as you know, I am busy stitching 50 new starts to celebrate turning 50 with my fellow 1974 baby, Somi Sarah, who is also here on Flosstube. So we're both turning 50 and to celebrate that we are doing 50 new starts. And do you know what? So far so good. I'm enjoying it. I have done lots of smalls and that's made a huge difference. I think that I'm not getting too overloaded with too much stitching or feeling pressure that I have to stitch. Last night I was exhausted. I'd had a really bad night's sleep the night before and I did a little bit of stitching and then you know what, I put it down and I just sat and I just watched TV. That's the first time for a long time that I've done that because I've just been too tired and felt fine about it. I didn't feel pressure of, oh no, I need to be stitching, or so enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. So as you know, we have a hashtag which is hashtag fun for 50 Sal. So there's lots of projects that we're both doing. So if there's any that you would like to join in with us, please do put a picture on Instagram. Please do tag us both and use the hashtag so that we know that you are joining in. That would be amazing. So what have I got? So for I have done 5 new starts so far this month, which takes me up to 11 or 12, I think, for so far. So I am really cracking on. So the first new start that I'm going to show you was actually also a fully finish. So this is, I call it Be Mine, but it is actually called Lovebirds, and it is from Brenda Gervais Love Notes. And I have stitched this. It's on a 40 count mystery fabric from my stash bag. And I've stitched it predominantly with the called for threads, but I have also used this beautiful pink in there, which I was kindly gifted, and this is a hand dyed by Rolanda on Etsy, and I believe she is in Canada. So, and I got gifted by a lovely lady in Canada a 4-pack, and that was one of the threads in there. It's a beautiful kind of bright cerise pink, and it's been really lovely to stitch with. And I have used that on the other Brenda Gervais pattern that I've did as well. So as you know, Sarah and you all gave us some lovely suggestions of prompts of things, and the prompt for this one that I have used was from Patty Smith. Hi Patty. And Patty suggested that we stitched something small, and I think I managed to stitch this in an afternoon or an evening, and then I've just fully finished it with, this is some beautiful fabric. This is a Lynette Anderson fabric, and I've had it for over 13 years. I bought this before my daughter was born, and she's nearly 14 now, so I've had that for a long time. So it's nice. And actually I gifted it to my partner on Valentine's Day, to Simon, and it wasn't until I gifted it to him and then it suddenly struck me, had I sewn on the backing, had I put the hearts the right way up, I hadn't checked it when I stitched it, when I did it on the machine. Big sigh of relief when I realised they were the right way round. So I was very pleased with that. And the other little one that I have fully finished was Love You a Latte. And that is also from Love Notes by Brenda Gervais. And again, you can see I have used the called for DMC on this. And again, I've used the hand dyed by Rolanda thread for the cup. And then that is backed with, I think that is some Tilda. That's a Tilda bit of fabric scrap that I had. So really pleased with that as well. So those were gifted to my other half on Wednesday, which of course was Valentine's Day. I also had another start. This wasn't a planned start actually. This is Let Love Grow. This is from Hands On Design, and Kathy from Hands On Design. It's her and her husband's anniversary around the beginning of February, and Kathy always designs a little freebie for us, which we can stitch, and it comes around Valentine's Day as well. And here we go. I have stitched this, so here is my start and also my finish. So this is Let Love Grow, and this is on a piece. I'm just going to drop it down so you can, oh, not because my notes on the, I've written a little note on the back which you'll then, so this is on a 36 count. It's Fabric of the Month from Fabrics by Crafty Kate, and it was actually the October 2023 fabric. And the prompt here, I used a prompt from Vicky in Kansas, and Vicky had suggested that Sarah and I start something on some unusual fabric, which I have done with this one. So let me just show the full extent of the colour. So as you can see, that's just a little small there. I've just done it in the corner so that I can use that fabric for something else, because it is gorgeous. You might get the colour a bit better. That's quite a true colour of that there, which is fabulous. So as you probably are aware, Kate and I from Fabrics by Crafty Kate are very firm friends, so I sometimes get a look in of what's coming up. But I love her fabrics. I love stitching on hand dyed. So that was a start and a finish. Another start for part of my 50 new starts was Winter Celebration by Hello from Liz Matthews. And the prompt on this one was from Jane Copeland. And Jane had suggested that we stitched on our oldest pattern. Now it wasn't actually, I wasn't entirely sure what my oldest pattern was, but I know that this is the one that I've had kitted up for the longest, certainly with the threads. So I felt that it was a really good one for me to do with that prompt. So I love this. So this is a freebie from Hello from Liz Matthews, which you can download from her website. And I'm stitching this on a 35 count weeks dye work in the colour beige, and I'm stitching it with the called for weeks dye work threads, apart from I haven't got I think it's Red Rocks, which is the red of the little cardinal, and the red for that is actually 3777, and it's for the amount of stitching in it, and it's no big blocks. I felt that the DMC equivalent for that was absolutely fine. I'm stitching this for my mum, and it is her birthday next week, a week today actually. So my plan is to try and get this finished in the next and probably try and get it finished this weekend actually, but it shouldn't take too long. It's just the 2 trees to do here and fill in the rest of those, but that's a really enjoyable little stitch, so really liked that one. So as you can see, I've been picking quite a few smalls to try and get things done. So start number, can't remember which one this was, but one of my starts. Now this is a pattern from Lisa, who is Lost in Stitches Designs, and the prompt here was from Joanne Newfield, and her prompt was to pick something from a Canadian designer. So Lisa fitted the bill perfectly with this. So just wanted to say hi, Lisa, and I hope you're doing okay. Been a bit quiet, we haven't heard from you, so hope no news is good news and that you're well, and just lots of love and positivity coming your way. But I've been thinking about Lisa while I've been stitching this, and this is Winter Snow, and let me show you how far I have got. So as usual, this is on a 40 count mystery fabric from my stash bag, and I've done it on a piece. So I have also bought the other patterns in Lisa's little winter series, and I have got enough of this fabric. I've cut this off, it's not on this bit, but I have got some other bits of the same fabric that I can stitch her other smalls on. So this is how far I've got so far. Absolutely loving this. So it's 40 count mystery fabric, and I'm doing in the called for DMC. And on this one, I've got a couple of lovely friends who are joining me. So my lovely friend Ruth, who is in the States, who is Ruth. Her Instagram is countrygal854, and Ruth, I think, started watching, or certainly started commenting on my Flosstube very early on and commenting on my Instagram posts. So she's always, I've always felt really supported by Ruth, and she makes lovely comments and compliments, you know, what I'm doing. So thank you for your support, Ruth, and I'm really pleased that you're stitching along with me on this one. And the other new to me floss tuber is Amy from Renewing Stitches, and Amy commented that she was going to start this with me as well, and she's made a start. She'd tagged me on Instagram, and then she tagged me on her Flosstube channel as well, and I hadn't realised that she had one. I think she'd had a previous Flosstube that she used to comment on but hadn't filmed. I don't think when she started filming she was on Instagram. So Amy has only, I think she's done 8 floss tubes, but in quite a short amount of time. I think she's been doing them weekly, and I watched the one that she tagged me in, and then I thought, I really like this lady. She possibly similar age to me, and 2 teenage boys, and I love what Amy's stitching, and I love her calm kind of way that she talks, and it's just really, really lovely. So I have gone back to the start of Amy's videos and started watching from number 1, and I'm up to about number 6 now. And it's fascinating. Amy stitches a lot of different styles, but she also has lots of old magazines, so she's stitching a lot of the things that, you know, those of you who are a similar age to me or and older will remember from, you know, from the 90s, and sometimes even the 80s, some of the older style things, some of the leisure arts charts that you could buy around then, that type of style. So although I don't necessarily want to stitch them because I've got enough, it's really interesting to see some of the things that, and actually there are a couple. There's one that Amy's doing for her sister that she's adapted slightly, and I thought I love it, and it actually looks really, it still looks quite to date, and you know, not an old pattern at all. So it's really lovely to see what Amy's stitching, and I really would recommend that you go and watch her Flosstube channel. So she is renewing stitches. So thank you for joining me, Amy. So that was start whatever number. I really haven't kept very good track. I know if you really would like to know how many of these starts and when I've started them, I am documenting it quite well on my Instagram, which is again like my Flosstube, is at Flossie Sews and Grows. So you can see I'm going in and labeling what number my starts are. So but I get onto camera and forget it's that age, it's that forgetful age. So my final start that I have made so far, so I think this will be number 5 because I know I've had 5 starts so far, is coffee and eggs. So this is by Gigi, the artsy housewife, and I just, when I saw this was released I think at the market in the summer last year, and I just saw it and thought I just loved that. This chicken here, so one of our chickens, aptly named Little Red, just this reminded me of her, and unfortunately she has passed away, so I thought this was a really little apt reminder of Little Red. And let me show you where I am with this. So this I am stitching on 35 count Weeks Dye Works parchment. Now I am stitching this with the lovely Lisa, who I had the honour of meeting at Stitch in London last October. Lisa's from Germany and she travelled over to London for the retreat, and I always get her, I'm not very good at German pronunciation, so I will put her Flosstube name in the notes below. Sorry, not Flosstube, her Instagram name in the notes below, but it's Mia_Reichs_Ich_Ger_Bastian, but it'll be below. So Lisa and I started this, actually we decided that this was going to be our Valentine's Day start because we both love coffee and both love eggs. So we're stitching this, and our hashtag for this is We Love Coffee and Eggs Sal. So if you would like to come and stitch along with us, please do. You would be very, very welcome to do so. Now I saw this, I'd bought it, I'd got it already, and just put a note there. I need to remember to say something else about it. Sorry, giving you a little bit of a shake there. I had bought this pattern already, and then when I went to Stitch in London, I met Kerry, who is the dyer of Roxy Floss Co, and she was stitching it. And she was stitching it with a conversion that Floss Boss Hannah had done. And really what I probably should have done at that point was say, can you tell me what the colours are, Kerry? And I can see if there's any that were at the Stitch in London, because there was a good selection of Roxy Floss Co colours there. But me being me, I think by that point I might have already bought about 20 odd skeins and spent quite a lot of my money when I saw it and realised, and so I didn't. But when I got home, I decided there were 2 colours that I already had, so Colonel Mustard and Inappropriate. So they were called for the conversion that Roxy Floss Co had done, or Hannah at Evertotes had done, of this pattern. So I knew I had 2 already, and then I thought, well, what other Roxy Floss have I got? And I can do my own little conversion. So I have, and pretty much I have got a couple there that are DMC, but pretty much everything else that I have got there are Roxy Floss Co thread. So I'm predominantly stitching it with Roxy Floss Co, which is fabulous. I'm really pleased that my kind of colours worked quite well. And I did have a prompt for this one, and my note has just dropped off, the little sticky note that I had the prompt on. So the prompt for this was from Natalie. Hi Natalie. And Natalie is at sew_stitch_sew_nat. And Natalie, she's on Flosstube as well as Instagram, so go and have a watch of Natalie. But her prompt for Sarah and I for Fun for 50 Sal was something retro. And I did think that this was quite a retro style. I think the coffee cup and the coffee pot and the style of kind of skirt that the lady's wearing, I just thought that was really retro, and I thought that was a really, yeah, I thought that was a really good pattern to fulfill with that prompt. So those were my new starts for February. I have amazingly had some time to work on my whips. So I do have a couple of whips that were pre-2024. One of those was Remember Me by Teresa Kogut. Now I am stitching this to remember my dad and my mother-in-law Diana. But I'm also stitching this, my friend Sally, she was 60 in December, so she is Stitchy Sally. Many of you know her and watch her, and she's stitching a Teresa Kogut pattern and for her 60th, and I decided to join in, but I couldn't get it in time, so I said, well, I'm on your birthday, I'm going to stitch Remember Me. So that is what I've been doing, and I'd stitched some of this the last time I'd spoken to you. I think I have got a picture of where I got to last time I spoke to you, so I will pop a picture in there. But I've stitched on this a few times, and I'm just really enjoying stitching on it. So I think since I last spoke to you, I have done some more fill-in of the house, and then I've kind of gone down here to work on the house and a bit up here. I've done this bird, and I think I've started doing some of the flower up here as well. I've avoided that tree. That tree is not my favourite, but getting there slowly but surely. And I think if I can get a couple of sessions in on this every month, it will eventually get done. It is a very big pattern, but it is enjoyable, and there's loads of variety in it, so I think I can keep going slowly but surely on that one. Now I'm stitching on a 40 count. It's Vigart fabric, and it is vintage cream. It's beautiful to stitch on, really, really lovely to stitch on. And I'm stitching it in the called for DMC with also the called for, there are I think 2 or 3 Weeks Dye Works colours that are called for that I've added in there as well, and the rest are the called for DMC. So really enjoyable, and I've really enjoyed just picking that up as and when I can and getting on with it. So that was one of my whips that came over from 2023. Another whip, so this is one of my new starts. This was a January new start. I will put a little picture of this up here so you can see what it will look like when it's finished. And I'll also put a little picture up if I took one. I think I might have done again with this one, of where it was last time I showed it to you. However, I haven't stitched an awful lot since you last saw it. So this is For Thee by Lila Studio, and I'm stitching this on an antique, it's either antique white or white, 36 counts Vigart. And Sarah is also stitching this. We started this on the same day, and we were also joined by the lovely Alex, who is Stitch Alex Ong on Instagram. And I have got a slightly itchy nose. Give it a little bit of an itch. I thought I would hide behind my board, but unfortunately dropped that, so you might have still caught the itch, but there we go. And I'm stitching this with Roxy Floss Co. purples, and I think since you last saw this, I have stitched, I predominantly stitched these flowers, this flower here I think, and down here, so not a huge amount of progress, but I've had lots of starts. But it's getting done. I'm trying to touch everything if I can. I haven't touched all of my whips this month. There's a few that I haven't stitched, 2 or 3 maybe, but that's fine. I've had lots of new starts, so yeah, but really enjoying that one so far. My other new start for January, which is now a whip, so my other whip, which I started in January, is, I'll pop a picture up here of what it's going to look like, and also if I did have a picture last time as well, we'll get that in there as well. And this is Go Tell It on the Mountain, and it's by Heartstring Samplery, and I bought this in December at the Jingle Ball. Apologies, I have hanging thread there, but this is where I have got with this. This is on a 40 count. It's an even weave fabric dyed by Megan from Coffee Crafts Fabrics. So I don't know, it hasn't got a name. It's a one I bought off Facebook on a random Sunday, but it's a lovely, beautiful colour. And I think since you last saw this, I have perhaps done the holly, the berries, and this leaf up here. I think I might have also done this holly here as well. And have I done the roof? You'll see if I have put a picture in earlier, you'll see whether I've done that roof or not. I didn't do many sessions on this, but I felt when I did, I might have worked on it on a weekend, and so I actually got quite a lot done on it, quite a lot stitched. So I feel that I've made quite a lot of progress on that, and that again, you know, that depending on what I'm working on over the next couple of months, that could get finished. That could be finished. We'll see. So that, I had one more whip. I have also stitched on Barbara Anna 4 Seasons. Oh, just on this one, yeah, I've told you it was a 40 count even weave from Megan Coffee Craft, but actually it is also with the predominantly called for threads. There we go, forgot that bit. So yes, there was one other whip that I've worked on, and I'm not going to show it to you because you have seen it so many times. So that was 4 Seasons by Barbara Anna, and I just need to finish off Miss Winter on that. I have stitched on it, I think, twice since I last spoke to you, but again, it's just getting those, leaning on my board here, it's just getting the white done on her. And you know, I think I said on my last video, I'm not a massive fan of stitching white, and a few people agreed. A few people said, oh no, neither am I. So I am determined, I'm absolutely determined it will be finished at the end of, by the end of February. So I've got, what are we on? We're on the 16th today, so I've got less than 2 weeks to finish it, and that's so achievable. I think a couple of evenings and I could get it finished. It's just that when you get to the end of something and you're really close to finishing it, that you sometimes put it off. So yeah, so the next time you see it, it will be finished. It will be finished. And I have, the other reason I have been slightly lax with it is that the next stitch that I would like to start is Garden of Dreams by Barbara Anna. And as you're aware, I stitch on a Wednesday night. I stitch Barbara Anna with my friend Sally at Stitchy Sally on Flosstube and on Instagram. And Sally is stitching, she's stitching one of the Dreaming Girls, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm kind of waiting for Sally to finish that so that we can start Garden of Dreams together. So I've been quite happy to be slow, so that Sally can catch me up and get to a point where she's quite close to finish. So I think she has said on her last Flosstube that she wants to have finished by the end of February. She wants to have finished her Dreaming Girls. So hopefully we'll be able to perfectly time it that we can start Garden of Dreams together. So next time you see it, it'll be done. So my plans for February, or the rest of February, I've got one more new start, which I did show you when I showed you my plans for February. I think that wasn't the last Flosstube, but the one before, and that is Hen and Chicks by Brenda Gervais. So I haven't got a date yet to start that, but I might do it next Friday actually, as it's my mum's birthday. So that might be a celebration of her birthday start. And because I definitely will have got a finish on Winter Small Celebration, because I'm going to gift it to her that day, so it will be finished. And then March, I'm going to. So I did feel that I went at it quite furiously in February with new starts. That I had. It might be. Let's check the book. Oh, I think it is 5. It is 5. So I do have. This is my folder, and I bought an electronic copy of the Stitching Cabin book last year, and so I bought the PDF so that I can print it out in A4 size. So I've got all my whips down here, and greens when I start and pinks when I finish. So I've had 5 starts so far, and I've still got one to do, so that'll be 6 for. Yeah, and I did 6 in January, so I'm going to have had 12 starts by the end of February, which is pretty good going. I think I'm quite pleased with that. Yeah, I think Sarah and I had thought, about 4 a month. 4 a month on average will get us to 50 by the end of the year. But I think we both felt that if we went a little bit higher at the beginning of the year, it gave us chance, during the summer when you might be on holiday, school holidays, so we're both spending more time with our families, as well as trying to juggle work. The allotment for me, at the moment, if the weather's bad in the morning before I start work at 11, I'll either go to the gym or I might just sit and stitch for an hour if I haven't got any housework to do. But in the summer, those mornings when everyone's at school, I'll probably try and get down to the allotment to do a little bit of work at the allotment before I start work at 11. So really I wanted to put up more of my starts at the beginning of the year. So to have done 12 so far has worked quite well, and because quite a few of them are small, I've got them stitched, and I've got some finishes, and I've got some nearly finished. So saying that, I have felt it's been a little bit frantic. So I have kind of sat down yesterday and today and planned what I'd like to do for March, and I'm looking at maybe 4 to 5 starts. So and again, they're not, some of them are a little bit bigger, so no smalls as such, although they're not big but they're kind of medium size. So so I've got 5 planned, but of course that's dependent on starting Garden of Dreams as well, which should happen, because it should happen. So the first one I'm going to start in March is Home Sweet Home, and this is a scattered seed samplers pattern, so I got this from my lovely friend Kate, who is Fabrics by Crafty Kate, and she gifted this to me for my birthday last year. So, and this says Home Sweet Home. Now, it was a funny story actually behind this. So I met the lovely Elaine, who is Ellie Welly Stitcher, at the back end of last year. We met in just beginning of December, because Elaine has moved up to North Wales from Essex. So we went out for lunch and had a really, really lovely day and become firm friends. And Kate gifted this to me, and after my lunch with Elaine, I thought, oh, brilliant! I'm going to stitch that for Elaine, because she's just moved. So Home Sweet Home pattern is absolutely fantastic. And I showed, did Kate give this to me for Christmas or for my birthday? I can't remember, but I know I've shown this on Flosstube. And then Elaine messaged me and said, I've got that chart, I'll start it with you. And I thought, oh damn, I was going to give it to her. I was going to stitch it and give it to her. However, we are going to start this together. So going to start this on the 1st of March. So as we both live in Wales, the 1st of March is St David's Day, and Wales is home sweet home. So this is going to be our St David's Day start. So if you would like to join us with that one, please do. The second one I'm going to start, this is Modern Folk Embroidery, and it's called 10 Merry Sailors and Their Loyal Dog. But there's also, we don't know if this is a dog, so this is this is a chart from Jacob that he designed as an exclusive for Stitch in London, and there was much discussion, certainly on one of the tables that Sarah sat on, I believe, about whether this was a dog or is this the dog and this is a sea monster. Don't know. But really love this. Now Sarah is also going to start this at the same time as me, so we're going to start this together. And actually there's a lovely lady who many of you will know called Sherry, who is Just So Sherry, and Sherry is 50 this year as well. She is very insistent she's not going to join in and do 50 new starts, but I think she's possibly had more new starts so far in 2024 than I have. So I have bet Sherry by the end of the year she will have done 50, no doubt about it. So Sherry is 50 in the middle of March, actually on the 15th, and so we are going to stitch this as a memory of Stitch in London, but as it's a Modern Folk Embroidery and Sherry really likes Modern Folk Embroidery, this will be stitched in for her as well, as a we love Sherry stitch. To celebrate her birthday. So that will be start number 2. I'm also going to do a birthday start, and this one's going to be for my daughter because her birthday is also in March, and I'm going to stitch for her Gathering Strawberries because there we go, there's the chickens. Now there's 3 chickens on here and we started with 4. We have only got 2 now, but I am going to stitch so that we've got a red chicken, a kind of not quite so red chicken, a pale grey chicken. So I'm going to stitch a black chicken on there as well because we have and actually there's, I'm sure, I need to have a check, I'm sure. So our black chicken she's actually a copper black. So she does have some red in her, but her black feathers shine in the sunshine. They have a green sheen to them, and I'm sure I have a Roxy Floss dark colour that has a green sheen to it. So I'm going to add a little black chicken in there as well. And yeah, I think probably I'll make one of these. I'll probably make that one more white, and this paler, kind of more orangey one, I will make grey. So when we started, we had Beyonce, who was, I call them blue, so she was they call chickens blue when they're grey, so she's grey. Little Red, who was red, Snow, who was white, and then Ginny, who was copper black. So that will be stitched for Felicity, and I'm going to start that on the 19th of March for her birthday. So that's an Annie B's art folk chart called Gathering Strawberries, which I love. So that will be start number 3. Then start number 4. This is Easy Peckings, and this is from, let me just pop a board behind that so you can see a bit better. And this is from Kelly at Cosford Rise Stitchery, Cosford Rise Stitchery. And again, chickens. Now I'm going to stitch this with my friend Rachel. So Rachel is at Stitchy Rach on Instagram and on Flosstube as well. So again, go and watch Rach. Really like watching Rachel. Rach messaged me and said she'd also bought that. So I bought this at Stitch in London and she'd bought it too. So she messaged me to say that she had it. I think I showed I'd bought last time I spoke to you, I had got some of the fancy floss for this. So Rachel messaged me and said, don't forget, I said I'd start it with you. So I'm going to start that with her. Yeah, and I've got some of the fancy floss for that. And then the rest will be DMC. So most of these are partly kitted up where I've got the DMC, where I've got the threads that aren't in another project. But there's little notes everywhere. You have to be really organised when you're making so many starts. But I've got so many notes everywhere of what the threads are, and then little asterisks of it's in go tell it on the mountain. So some projects I've got, you know, I've pulled threads and I've made some floss drops for them. Others I know that there's different things in different places, but yeah, so there's project bags and threads and fabric everywhere. You can't see from looking at this beautiful tidiness behind me, you can't see what's on the floor. But actually, to get out of my sewing room now, the door's over, the window's here, the door's over there, I can't get through to the door at the moment because I've had to move everything around to get the tripod there so that you can watch me. So yes, it's a little jam-packed in here, and my trusty ironing board here with everything on. So that will be start number 4, and then of course, hopefully, this will be a start this month as well. This is Barbara Anna's Garden Dreams, and that is all kitted up. I've got the fabric there, which is a fabric of the month from Fabric by Crafty Kate, and it's all DMC, which I've got there. So those are really nice bright colours, which aren't at the moment being used in anything else. So that one's all well that's been kitted up because I did think I would start it in January, but I didn't get there. So that is Garden of Dreams. So those will be my 5 starts for March. So as you can see, there's perhaps fewer but slightly bigger projects. Still got some, you know, quite a couple of smalls that I think will probably, some could get finished this month as well. So I'm making progress. I have had to say to myself, these are starts. You don't have to finish everything as well. You know, that's a pressure I don't want to put on myself. One thing that I really like seeing is other people doing whip go boards. And certainly at the beginning of this year, I only had 5 whips to carry over into 2024. So I think for 2025, one of the things I'd really like to do is a whip go board. And, you know, by the end of the year, I should have enough to put on that whip go board. And, you know, I can put some new starts on there as well. So, you know, that's really exciting to think about how I can carry my projects from 2024 into 25. Although that's quite a long way away, so I don't really need to think about it now. But there we go. So what else have I got that I wanted to say? Haven't got any haul. Yes, you heard that right. No haul. Been very good. There are lots and lots of beautiful charts that I keep seeing, but I have a list of 50. That list does change, but I have a list of perhaps 20 underneath my list of 50 that are available to me. So at the moment, I am feeling that I don't want to be spending too much money because I have got so much stash. I have got some things coming up this year that I want to save money for. I have a couple of retreats that I'm booked on that I will want to spend money then, I know. So, you know, it's putting some money away towards those. I'm 50 this year, so thinking about what holiday, you know, having a nice holiday that I could do. So saving some money for that. And yeah, I've got a lot. So I've had no haul. So I'm quite pleased with myself for, oh, that was, yes, Nashville. There are some beautiful patterns coming out of Nashville. So I may not. We'll see. Because most of the things from Nashville you can buy after Nashville. So, but have you seen the new tiny towns? They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. There's so much beautiful stuff. And again, it's time and choice, and yeah, I'd like to retire and stitch all of the time. Sadly, not quite an option just yet, but there we go. So no haul, but I have been watching some Flosstube as I've been stitching, and I've already mentioned Amy to you here, who is renewing stitches, and really Amy is lovely. She's quite new. She hasn't really advertised her Flosstube on Instagram yet, so she hasn't got many subscribers, but she really deserves some. So go over and have a watch of Amy because she's really lovely. The other lady that I have been watching with quite a lot of delight is Darlene, who is Darlene Dion Designs. And Darlene also has a big birthday this year, but Darlene is 60 and Darlene is hardcore. She's doing 60 new starts. So it's wonderful that Darlene is doing that and has mentioned me a couple of times. So thank you so much, Darlene, for your support and comments. And it's great to see your new starts. So, and I aspire that when I'm turning 60 in 10 years time, I'll be doing 60 new starts. And the other person, so who else have I watched this week? Caught up with Nadine this week, who is Nads_X_Stitch. Nadine is lovely. I love Nadine. I met Nadine at the Chatelaine retreat last year. She's one of the organisers of that, and she is such a nice person. She has just, I think a couple of days ago, put out a roundup for January. So we have seen everything that she's been stitching on in January, and I find Nadine really quite inspirational. There are, so I think Nadine has about 75 whips, which part of me would really love to have that many whips, but I'm not sure if I got past 20-25 how I'm going to feel, if I'll feel a bit overwhelmed. However, we shall see. Maybe I'll get there this year, but I just find, I find, and she's got them all piled up behind her on her shelves, and it just loads of project bags. It just looks amazing. But Nadine and I have got some really similar tastes. There's a few things that we both are stitching, or she's got in her whips that I've stitched, or I've got ready to stitch. But Nadine also stitches chatelaines and stitches mirabilias and fancy ladies. And although they're not necessarily things that I want to stitch, I love looking at them. And they are some big projects, some really big projects. And Nadine also knits. And I have tried to knit in the past and not enjoyed it, but I'd like to do it. Mum went wool shopping last week, and she's just knitted herself the most gorgeous woolly hats. It's quite kind of Nordic pattern on it, and it's really lovely, and I really liked it. And she said, I'm not doing it again. It was awful. I struggled. I got my friend to knit quite a lot of it. I was like, oh, and I was really disappointed. And then she said, but I bought a new book, and do you like that one? And I was like, oh yes. So she's bought the wool for that. So she's going to knit me a hat. And I was looking at the wool that she'd bought, and it was beautiful. She was like, well, why don't you try knitting again? I was like, oh, I'm not sure. So maybe. And she'd bought the round knitting needles, and I was like, oh, I'd like to try those. And she said, it's a bit more difficult knitting in the round. You'd be better on okay, so watch this space. I may be persuaded to give it a try, but I may not. But I love seeing what Nadine has stitched some beautiful fingerless gloves, which she's put on Instagram. Go and have a look. They're gorgeous. I would love some. What else? So I think last time I spoke to you, I showed you a couple of things that had been stitched for me by my mum, and that went down really, really well. I think a few people messaged and commented on how much they'd enjoyed seeing some of the things that mum had stitched. So I've got, and I'm going to try and spread these out over my floss tubes, but today I've brought up this one for you to have a look at. And it's all quite bright in here, but I think, so this is one that mum stitched, and you can see it was stitched in 2001. It's got SJC on it, which are her initials, but actually at the time were also my initials. We don't have the same name, but we have different first name and middle names, but with the same first letters. So I was SJC as well when I was younger, and I now have a different surname. So mum stitched this for me in 2001. Now, I think this is probably a Little House Needleworks chart, but I don't know. I've had a look in her charts and it's not there. So whether she's given it to one of her friends or it's somewhere else in her vast attic. She has a converted attic. So her craft room is upstairs and it's huge, and there's a lot up there. So it could be somewhere else, but I think this is a Little House. I wondered whether it was drawn thread, but I don't think it is. So if anybody knows, that'd be great. And it's lovely. Look at this key. Look at that key there. And there's lots of beads, so you can see the beads on that, and there's a heart there. And I think those hearts are stitched in. Are they in satin stitch or are they different? Oh no, they're a different stitch. They're not satin, I don't think, are they? Yeah, and little, you see on the tree there, the beads to make it an apple tree. So absolutely love this. And she has written a note on the back: for Sally, with love from mum, for your home, wherever it may be. So I know that in 2001, I had just started a new job in London. I had a house in Bristol, and beginning of 2001, I moved for my job to London, and I initially was living in a rented flat, well, 2, before I then went and bought a flat later in the year in 2001. Or was it beginning of 2002? I can't remember. I think it was 2001. So yeah, so at the time when she stitched this, I don't think she would have known where I was living. And actually it's quite funny because the house there, that house is a very similar looking house to the house that the flat that I first lived in London, that I first bought, the first flat I bought in London was in a similar looking house with a red door, and this would have been our flat here. So we were a first floor flat, and then with wooden stairs in that went up to the attic. So it had been an attic conversion in this big house, and we had a bedroom and a bathroom in the kind of with the sloping ceiling in the eaves. So it had a red door as well. So maybe she stitched that when she knew that we were moving to that house, that flat. I can't remember. But so yeah, so that's one of mum's stitches, and this now lives in my hall, so that when people come to visit, they can see the welcome. So there we are. So that was Flosstube number 27. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love it if you could like and subscribe this, and do please put a comment in just to say hello and that you've been and visited today. I love chatting and communicating with people out there who watch me, and I do try and reply to every single comment, not always straight away, but I do try and reply to you, and really appreciate all the comments and likes and support that you all give me out there in Flosstube land. So it's been really lovely to speak to you. That was my mid-month catch-up. I will be back at the end of February, beginning of March, to show you where I got to for the end of February, what I'm up to where I'm up to with all my whips, and it will then be the start of a new month. So there'll be those new starts you've seen today will be starting to get underway. Please, if there are any that you would like to join in with, please either drop me a message, or if there's a hashtag for some of them. Don't think I've actually, certainly, yeah, don't think there are any hashtags on the ones for March yet, but just do drop me a message, and we'll try and include you on those when I start them. So thank you for your time, and all I'd like to say is happy stitching. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.